If you grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons like I did, you will no doubt remember Wacky Races. The iconic bad guy, Dick Dastardly, and his sidekick dog, Muttley, were the main characters that this series was built upon. Muttley's snickering laugh is absolutely unforgettable. A further development of this series saw the flying version where Dick and his squadron were forever chasing Yankee Doodle Pigeon. I love these characters. The series played up the game of chasing each other with the brilliantly conceived parodies of World War I aviation. So my next project is to build the aircraft that Dick and Muttley flew, but with a twist. Rather than make replicas of the cartoon aircraft as seen on screen, I'm going to build them as real versions of what they could have been if Dick and Muttley were in fact real-life figures. So to do that, let's first look at what they flew in the cartoons and then find the best match in historical aircraft. So to begin with, let's have a look at Muttley's plane. Various screenshots show Muttley in this purple pusher-style aircraft. He flies it often, but there is another version, this twin-seat aircraft. Given that Dick and Muttley are often seen together in the same aircraft, the elements that I think we need here are 1. A pusher-style aircraft, and 2. That it be a twin-seat variant. Well, this really limits us to looking at the de Havilland FE2 aircraft. I think the later FE2B is a great choice here. As for model kit options, the Wingnut Wings FE2B Late appears to me to be the perfect match. Now for Dick's aircraft. The most common version is this all-red single-seat biplane. There are obvious links here to suggest that he is the quintessential World War I bad guy, the Red Baron. So to that end, let's use the plane in which Manfred von Richthofen scored so many of his victories, the German Albatros DVA. Once again, I'll tap into the Wingnut Wings range for this kit. We now have 2 aircraft to build. You might be thinking, hey, what about Dick and Muttley themselves? Well, I found this print on Colts 3D and had it resized to 1/32 scale to match the Wingnut Wings models. So this should add a much needed sense of realism to the project, don't you think? Let's begin with the kit for Muttley's aircraft.
Alright, so before we start, let's have a look at what's in the kit. I bought this as a second-hand kit from someone in New Zealand, and he was very kind enough to supply with me the Aviatic decal sheet for making this the basically a night fighter version. I won't be using that. Let's just tuck that away for a future build. I'm going to skip through a few things because it's given that Wingnut Wings produce a really, really good kit. But I just want to have a quick look in here and see some of the details that we're going to get inside the instruction booklet. Typical Wingnut Wings, look at the details. These are fantastic, great reference images. So I'm going to rely on these quite heavily, especially with the engine detail. Some good details here in regards to how we're going to wire this up, because I will include a bomb. Fantastic. It's good to see images of wreck planes too, because it really gives you another foundation to work with. And these reference images for the engine are absolutely fantastic. I've built a few Wingnut Wings kits and they don't always have this level of detail in them for the engines, but this one's just fantastic. What a great example. Alright, and I don't know, do I want to look at that? That's the rigging diagram. My God, that's going to take me a while. Get my head around that bit. Again, some more great reference images, just packed with it. It's fantastic work. It's good to see that's an image of the Royal Naval Air Service collection bag too on there. Alright, so there we go. It's a given. Great detail, and of course the colour options here at the end. Really nice, but I'm doing literally none of those, so thank you. I'll put that away and have a look at that later. Okay, the decal sheet. Not a lot in this which I'm going to use. Some of the details here for the smaller parts will be fine. Obviously national symbols I'm not going to use, which is great. A little bit of PE, seatbelts. Again, I won't be using those either, so nice. Clear parts, really good. Let's just have a quick look through the kit, see if there's any surprises. What's not surprising is the detail in here, which is great. Typical Wingnut Wings. So that's the two-piece cockpit shell and the engine bay there. Quite good. The wings. This does work out to be quite a big model at the end of the day. Probably not surprising because it is 132, but that's one half of the wingspan. Yep, nice size, good detail. This is the period when Wingnut Wings had plastic, which I think's good, maybe a little on the soft side for them. A bit of damage there, but I can fix that quite easily. That's one of the spars that runs down from the engine end down to the tail. The bomb and struts. This is the first part I'm going to be working on here, which is the engine. Really good detail in here too. I know I do say that a lot, but it still surprises me how good the detail is on these kits. And Wingnut Wings hasn't been gone for long, but there's certainly a standard here which is just higher than so many other kits. Alright, Lewis machine guns, Vickers, they're quite good really. Magazines, bombs, yeah, really good. No surprises so far, quite happy with that. Kit's in great condition. More to do with the wings, and as we get to the bottom, there's a couple of these sprues, wheels, support pieces, detail pieces. Okay, so no big surprises in there.
Okay, let's get on with the cool stuff, building the actual model. Because I'm not a stickler for rules, let's jump ahead in the instructions and build the engine first. The inline 6-cylinder Beardmore engine produces a massive 160 horsepower. But who cares? Really, it's cool because it's different. Copper alloy cylinders, lots of external plumbing, intakes, oil tanks, fuel cells, wiring, lifters, and all the piping are external features that you can go crazy with. A scale modeler can literally go nuts dressing it up, and all of these parts will remain exposed once the model is completed. So I'm not going to film every step of the engine build because there are plenty of videos on YouTube that show this purpose in great detail. So instead, I'll show you priming it, and then let's skip ahead and look at the near complete engine and then move to building the cockpit itself. The best part of World War I aircraft is doing the rigging, right? No, I'm clearly joking. That's not the best part. It's all the exposed timber so that we can work on a lot of timber effects on this model. My techniques for alloyed aircraft is to prime in a light grey, then spray a coat of Tamiya deck tan, over which I then apply dark oils to create the streaky timber grain effect, and then overspray with Tamiya clear orange. Thank you for watching part 1 of this epic build series. In the next video, I'll be taking on construction of the wings and tailplane sections and begin the dreaded task of rigging. So until then, take care and keep on building.